From an insane superpowered mythic to a deleted collab, these are 30 Fortnite updates that were removed. Did you know Fortnite once added a unicycle? We've seen leaks showing exactly how it looked, and you could even ride it around, but what happened? Either Fortnite thought players would mistake it for a vehicle, or they just completely forgot about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it randomly releases one day. From one wheel to two, the motorbikes were an actual vehicle set to be released this season. Epic started working on them last season, and we've all been waiting for them to arrive, but with only 3 weeks left and all evidence deleted, it seems they were scrapped. On the flip side, with Epic's track record, this might just mean they're still preparing to release them, maybe in Season 4. While we're waiting for them to arrive, the previous Season 4 actually left us with many items that never released. Some you probably never even heard of, like a mythic which gave players the ability to summon and shoot fireballs. It was gonna do up to 100 damage with a cooldown of 2 seconds, and yeah, it sounds just as OP as you might think. While it may have never released, with the next season expected to be Marvel themed, we might finally see this superpower alongside a load of new mythics. A special exotic weapon was also added in Season 4 and was gonna be one of the most interesting ones yet. It was a unique SMG that gave you icy feet. It would have allowed for some interesting gameplay. I mean, just imagine someone skating downhill towards you with an SMG. But there's a hidden secret in Chapter 3's tents. They were planned to have some insane upgrades that would expand your site even further, with features ranging from campfires and flags to a whole upgrade station. These improvements could make tents so much more useful again, so let's hope it is not scrapped forever. But I cannot say the same about this unreleased emote. The baby already has 2 emotes in the game, but did you know Epic was working on a third codenamed Cryptography? This was actually for a song AM to PM with Migos, and the icon for it even got leaked, but due to the real-life controversy surrounding him, it was scrapped and his previous emotes haven't returned either. But emotes aren't the only thing that Fortnite has deleted. If you've been playing Fortnite for a while, you'll probably remember the Gemini skin. It was added all the way back in April of 2019, and everyone was waiting for it to release until it was suddenly removed entirely. Turns out that the skin was heavily based on Rave May from Paladins, and once people noticed, Epic decided it wasn't such a good idea to walk right into a lawsuit. It wasn't until July 2019 that it was re-added with a complete redesign as Astro Assassin, never getting the original bunny helmet or red edit style. So Gemini may be a lost memory, but we're still all heartbroken from one of the biggest scrapped updates of all time. Of course, I'm talking about skating. Planned to be added in the No Sweat Summer event this year, it was one of the most anticipated features. But when the update finally released, giving us a whole skate park on the water, but no skateboards. Epic could have been too worried to release a brand new feature while on vacation, especially after it could literally break the game. So unfortunately, it was scrapped for now, but I'm still holding out hope for the future. And I bet you've never heard of Fortnite's first ever mythic. Before the Thanos gauntlet, we were gonna have a concussion mine. It was placed on the ground like C4, but detonated whenever someone got close. And it didn't just deal damage, it even stunned them. Years later, Fortnite released the proximity mine, a new version, but pretty underwhelming compared to the original. With mythics being so good nowadays, a simple explosive like this is probably never coming out. But sometimes Epic scrap entire modes. In early 2020, they began to work on a new Arsenic LTM where survivors would attempt to escape the Slurp team. It was basically infected from Call of Duty, but sadly, it never saw the light of day, and a few months later, Epic abandoned the LTM entirely. Although, it did later have parts reused for the Fortnite Mares 2020 update where you respawn as a shadow. Players also missed out on an amazing consumable. Prickly pears were first added to the files during Chapter 1 and were set to release with the desert biome. The fruit was meant to be the first risk-reward consumable in the game, where it had a 50% chance to either damage or heal you, which is way more interesting than the fruit we have in Chapter 3. And one collab that feels like we've been waiting on forever is Family Guy. Since the leak of Peter fighting the giant chicken, players have never stopped wondering if we'll ever see him. So it turns out there's only 2 options. It was canceled, or Epic pulled off an elaborate prank. An employee leaked it again a few months ago, but it seems like this crossover has been put on the shelf. Unless it comes out next season when the next Family Guy season comes out. Even Marvel isn't safe. We will never see these canceled NPCs in Fortnite. Back in Season 1, Spider-Man brought friends and foes to the island, including Mary Jane and Green Goblin, but there were also planned to be bosses on the island too. I mean, just imagine how cool it would have been to fight Green Goblin and get his mythic glider. Speaking of bosses, the Rick and Morty collab in Season 7 was also gonna make us fight Rick Sanchez and his mythic portal gun, but unfortunately, Epic changed their plans and made him a normal NPC. Did you know Fortnite was gonna become an entirely new game last year? We were about to see an open world mode. A map was even leaked, along with a ton of other information that got everyone excited. Epic even accidentally revealed the cover art a while back, but since then, nothing. This is such a huge project, so who knows, maybe Epic is still working on it behind the scenes. But there's also been times we've been left waiting and nothing has happened. Out of all the Marvel characters in Season 4, Mystique was the only one that never had a mythic. Just when we thought Epic had forgotten her, mythic dual pistols were found in the files. Players waited a whole season to see them arrive, but they were never completed. And the same can be said for the custom battle bus. We're gonna have a new type of item in the locker that will let us put wraps on our battle bus. But since they decided to change the bus so often to celebrate events and large collabs, it felt unneeded and was forgotten. This next item might have just changed the game forever. An energy crystal was a consumable worked on in Chapter 1, and just like the prickly pears, they had a risk and a reward factor. This time, the crystal drains all of your movement energy, making it nearly impossible to move around, but instead doubles your harvesting, fire, and reload speed. I mean, just imagine how OP this could have been. Another strategic item was the backpack. Just like the scrapped eye of the storm tracker, this was another wearable item, but instead of revealing a future storm circle, it provides space for 3 extra inventory slots. The original backpack was scrapped, but years later, it was basically reworked into tents. Now, we haven't seen Travis Scott in the shop for over 850 days, so while we all know he wasn't scrapped, he was originally gonna look completely different. This was the original design for the collab, and it's just one of many variations that we could have seen. Of course, Travis chose the Terminator route instead. But sometimes decisions mean that super fun items are lost. I mean, you gotta hear about the Space Pistol. It was a sci-fi weapon that would have fit Season 7 perfectly and shot lasers that could bounce off walls. But there's a game-changing weapon that was replaced by one of Fortnite's best features. In Chapter 2, Epic was working on the run and gun exotic SMG that gave you a speed boost while firing. But now, with Tactical Sprint, the whole weapon is pretty much pointless. An item that seemed a lot more useful though was the fire extinguisher. Just like gas cans, you'd be able to pick them up around the map and use them to put out fires. They could also practically be used as smoke bombs, so I'm pretty sad this one isn't coming out. Around that same time, we also got a whole range of new bows for the Primal season, but there was one that never got released, the Splinter Bow. What this is gonna be used for, well, nobody knows. But you might also be surprised to hear that Epic was gonna release a planet-sized skin. I'm only slightly joking, because Galactus was gonna be an actual item shop outfit to celebrate his live event. And then, well, Epic decided to never release it. Hopefully he gets a Thanos treatment and gets dropped as a surprise, but I don't think anyone's holding their breath. And for those Fortnite players who just don't have the patience to wait around, the supply drop grenade would have been a perfect addition. If you got hold of one of these, it would have allowed you to summon your own personal loot crate, which sounds awesome, so I'm not really sure why this one was deleted. But one of the most interesting ideas Fortnite has ever had was the club. It was the very first version of the Fortnite crew and included the usual battle pass and V-Bucks, but with a huge twist. Subscribers would be allowed into an exclusive place called the club, and I'm guessing it would be like a mini version of Party Royale, but Epic never went through with it. It wasn't as tempting as the most sought-after glider in the entire game. Throughout the years, players have seen secret umbrellas being used in tournaments, such as the iconic Golden Umbrella. People have been desperate to know how to get their hands on these gliders, and the question has remained unanswered. That's because the Gold Umbrella has been canceled, and to take things further, there was secretly more of them hidden in the files. But an idea that wasn't entirely lost was a zap gun. It was first spotted in Save the World, and Epic planned to bring this thing into Battle Royale, although it seemed a little overpowered. So just when we thought it was scrapped for good, the plasma cannon was introduced into Fortnite. But did you know the entire game was on the brink of being completely canceled? At the time, Save the World wasn't going anywhere, and the vice president of Epic Games wanted to shut it down for good. Luckily, his idea was rejected, and they decided to add Battle Royale to try and save the game. The rest is history. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.